Hey guys, welcome back to Caden's Corner. The NFL is almost at the halfway point as the trade deadline is just finished. Some unexpected teams have disappointed so far, the main one being the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. They currently sit at 3-5 and 10th in the NFC. So what seems to be the problem, and can they bounce back? This offense has been very lopsided. They're the worst running team in the NFL. This is due to the poor performance of the offensive line. Injuries have plagued this team all season, and it has led to obvious dysfunction in the offense. Not to mention the defense that has carried this team just lost one of its best players, Shaq Barrett, for the rest of the season with a torn Achilles. Tom Brady is a man that can never be counted out, and with a very weak NFC South, I expect the Buccaneers to barely sneak into the playoffs. I also think that they could cause havoc and be a dark horse for the NFC Championship. Let's hop over to the AFC, where the Bills and Chiefs have been the two powerhouses. The Bills sit at 6-1 atop of the AFC with the best odds to win the Super Bowl, and the Chiefs are 5-2 and have the third best odds to win the Super Bowl. But can anyone contend with these two teams in the AFC? I think that the Dolphins have the best chance of knocking one of these teams off. This offense has looked unstoppable when Tua is at the helm, and on the other side of the ball, they added one of the best young pass rushers in the league, Bradley Chubb, at the trade deadline. I also like the addition of running back Jeff Wilson to add to this rushing attack. The last remaining undefeated team in the NFL, the Eagles, have looked like the most threatening team to come out of this NFC. With the MVP caliber season from Hurts and the lockdown defense, the Eagles have the second best odds to win the Super Bowl. So can any other team catch up to them? I think the 49ers stand the greatest chance against them. The Niners have been one of the most banged up teams in the league, and after the bye week, they get Debo, Eric Armstead, Al-Shaair, and Juszczyk back. These additions, along with trading for McCaffrey, make this team so dynamic. I think the Niners can beat anyone in the NFC, and I have them playing in the Super Bowl. I also think that the Cowboys are underrated in the NFC. This defense is one of the best in the league, and it's largely due to Micah Parsons, who is on his way to winning the Defensive Player of the Year. Cooper Rush did a good job of backing up Dak, but it was exploited when they played the Eagles. With Dak, it'll be a different story. A topic that I've seen been thrown around the media recently is who's a better quarterback between Justin Herbert and Tua? I think that this question is stupid, and recency bias is crazy. Tua and the Dolphins are having a great season, but Justin Herbert is still so much better. Before the season, Sean Payton said that Teddy Bridgewater would replace Tua by mid-season, and most other people hated on Tua this offseason, and suddenly 8 games in, completely changed their minds. Mike McDaniels made an amazing scheme that perfectly fits Tua's strengths. Brandon Staley, on the other hand, is a defensive-minded head coach that has done nothing for Herbert. This shows the importance of how a coach can positively or negatively impact a quarterback. Not to mention Keenan Allen has been injured almost all season, and now Mike Williams is hurt. Tua is throwing to Tyreek Hill and Waddle, which might be the best receiver duo in football. I would take Justin Herbert every single day of the week and twice on Sunday over Tua. The Rams and Packers are two teams that everyone expected to be at the top of the NFC, but they have majorly disappointed this season. The Rams are 3-4 and sit 9th in the NFC, while the Packers have lost 4 straight and are 3-5. But which team is in bigger trouble right now? I think the Packers are in huge trouble. After Rodgers became the highest paid QB in football, everything went downhill. Adams left and this receiving core became one of the worst in the league. And midway through the season, the Packers have a bottom 5 passing game, and no moves were made to get receivers at the deadline. And also, Odell isn't walking through those doors anytime soon to come save this team. The Broncos and Cardinals made their QBs 2 of the highest paid players in the NFL this offseason. 2 guys that were in the top 10 quarterback conversation this offseason haven't looked the best this season. The Cardinals gave Kyler a 5-year, $230 million contract, and the Broncos gave Russ a 5-year, $245 million deal. So which franchise will regret paying their QB the bag more? I think that the Broncos will ultimately regret this deal more. Wilson's numbers have fallen off a cliff as the Broncos have one of the worst offenses in football and currently sit at 3-5. Not to mention the quarterbacks in his division aren't going anywhere anytime soon. The Broncos won't sniff the top of their division this year and in the coming years. The 2021 draft class had 5 quarterbacks taken in the first round, with the expectation of these guys being franchise players. But the sophomore slump has been brutal for these guys. Lance suffered a season-ending ankle injury week 2 that has delayed his development. Trevor Lawrence came out strong the first few weeks, but since then has struggled. He is 5th in the NFL in interceptions and has lost 5 straight games. Mac Jones hasn't looked stellar before and after his injury that kept him out 3 games. He is 4th in the league in picks and is 2-3 when starting this season. Justin Fields and Zach Wilson have drawn the most concern. Fields is 3-5 when starting and is tied for 5th in the league in picks. He also is 25th in passing yards. But the guy whose time may be running out is Zach Wilson. He is 4-1 as a starter, but hasn't been the reason for this team's success. This offense has been carried through the run game with Breece Hall. Zach Wilson is just averaging over 200 yards per game, and in the loss against the Patriots on Sunday, he threw 3 interceptions. Taylor Heineke and the Commanders are 2-0 2-0 since he has taken over, and all of a sudden are 4-4 and find themselves in the thick of the playoff race. With this sudden boost that he has given them, can the Commanders sneak into the playoffs? The Commanders are currently 8th in the NFC, but it doesn't seem possible for them to win their division, as the 7-0 Eagles are in first, the 6-2 Cowboys are in second, and the 6-2 Giants are in third. Heineke gives this team a jolt, and I think that they have a legit shot of making the wild card. The Giants are a team I think they could leapfrog, as they still have to play them twice. Heineke's success also raises the question of how good this team would be if he started all season. But don't count out the Commanders yet. I'm Caden Kubler, and that's my take.